What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Trey Jones. Today I'm going to be talking about the 10 scariest anxiety symptoms. These are the ones that are the scariest in my opinion, ones that I personally dealt with. So if you're ready to kick anxiety in the butt, smash the like button down below, leave me a comment. Today's comment question of the day: name your scariest anxiety symptoms. What were the symptoms that scared you the most? Share those down below. You could probably relate with some other people. That's what the comment section is about. Now, if you are subscribed and you answer this comment question, you have a chance to get a shout out in my next video, okay? I'm gonna be picking 2 people. Speaking of which, I have 2 amazing shout outs to give today. The first one is by White Shadow 59. Thank you so much. And Kim Lazara. Thank you guys very, very much for being proactive and leaving a comment and answering that question. So if you want to be a part of that, leave some comments. So guys, before we get started, not a licensed mental health professional. What I do is I take my past experiences, my old journey, my recovery, and show you that it is possible. It is indeed possible to recover from this stuff. You have to work hard, a lot of patience, a lot of strategy, and it takes time. It's not a quick fix. Wouldn't that be nice? It's not. If you're interested in anxiety one-on-one coaching with me, the email will be in the description and in the first pinned comment. I would love to schedule some time where we can dive in depth and see what you're dealing with on an individual level, and you'll get a personalized strategy tailored to your needs, okay? And then we're gonna go through all that. So if you're interested in something like that, the email is gonna be provided down below. So guys, let's jump right into this. Number 1, headaches. This is a very, very scary symptom that I would deal with. Luckily, they weren't 24/7 for me, but they were more like tension headaches. That was the most common type of headache that I would have. But guys, don't get me wrong, I would have like radiating, I would have some shooting pains going through my mind. They were going through my mind, but they were also physically there inside my head, and they scared the crap out of me, okay? Of course, I assumed the worst. I thought that I had either a brain tumor that was infringing on my brain or some of the other tissue or my skull causing these pains. That was one of my big fears, was brain cancer. Something else that would come across my mind a lot was either a stroke or an aneurysm. So I had those fears, and of course I would have other anxiety symptoms that would kind of confirm that fear, at least in my mind, and would make me diagnose myself with certain things, okay? So headaches were something that I dealt with probably a few times a week, and whenever they happened, they terrified me because I didn't have headaches whenever I was younger very often. So it was kind of mind-blowing for me to have so many just caused from anxiety. But I know many of you deal with that. Many of you describe it as a band being around your head. So if you're dealing with that, you're not alone. Muscle tension can actually cause this, believe it or not. You have muscles in your head, okay? And then muscles in and around your neck can also lead to that. So pressure and tension, very common with anxiety. The next one, guys, is the big one, and that's chest pains. You hear me talk about it all the time. It's probably the number 1 scariest symptom of anxiety. For most people anyways. Of course, I did worry about cancer and other progressive diseases, but chest pain scared me so freaking much because I feared that I was having a heart attack, and heart attacks were quick. At least with cancer and other diseases, I could at least fight it, you know, or tell my friends and family goodbye and slowly kind of go away. But with the chest pain, I literally thought I was gonna drop at any second. So that's how my actual health anxiety started. It was with a panic attack, and then chest pain shortly followed. So from that point on, for the next 2.5 years, I feared that I had heart disease at the ripe age of 20. So that shows you how you can pretty much convince yourself, especially if you have health anxiety, that you have some horrible disease regardless of the odds or stats. I was that tiny, tiny stat, okay, in my mind. So chest pains, I've described this before, but guys, I had every type, okay? There wasn't just one type of chest pain that I dealt with. Muscle tension moved around all up here, and this is one of the first areas on my body to get tight. So I would deal with destructively crushing chest pain right here in the middle, in the center. I would have pain on the left side, of course. The right side, I would have it above, I would have it below. Especially when I had some stomach issues and heartburn right below, that would aggravate that and kind of mimic some chest pain. It would make me get nervous about that after eating big meals. I thought I was having heart attacks as well. But I would have shooting pains, radiating pains, and then there was just that persistent dull ache that just stuck around with me all the freaking time. So annoying, not horrible, but just enough to be like, hey, I'm still here. You know what I mean? You still have heart disease. And that's kind of what I dealt with. So chest pain is a very scary one. Number 3, numbness and tingling. A lot of you deal with this one, so did I. And whenever it's in association with having headaches, or whenever it's in association with having chest pain, we start to think that we're having either strokes or heart attacks. So I would get numbness and tinglings in my extremities, including my hands, my fingers, my phalanges, my toes, my feet, my legs, my arms, sometimes the extremities of my face. I didn't deal with that as much as some of you are dealing with it, but it's common. Blood flow in our fight or flight mode is getting redirected to our most vital organs and muscles, so it leaves these guys hanging. When there's less blood flow, you can have numbness, you can have tingling, you can also have colder temperatures. So a lot of you experiencing cold hands and feet, that could be another reason why. So numbness and tingling would freak me out. I would often get that in my left arm because I focused my muscle tension on that side because I associated left arm pain and numbness and tingling with a heart attack. The next one, guys, is another freaking scary one, okay? And this is brain zaps. I dealt with this probably 2 or 3 times. Luckily, not more. I know many of you are unfortunately dealing with this on the reg. My first brain zap was terrifying. I know me and my ex were getting ready to go to a Little League game, and I was very anxious that morning, and I just had enough, I guess, and then I just felt this huge rush in my head, and I felt this just buzzing vibration in my skull. Freaked me out. I remember falling to the ground and telling her, call the ambulance, call the ambulance. I literally thought I was having some crazy aneurysm or stroke in that moment. Luckily, it didn't last long, and most of the time brain zaps do not last very long. Everybody kind of describes it a little bit differently, but it can be described as like a spasm type thing, or like your brain vibrating or twitching, electric shock in your mind. I keep saying in your mind, in your brain, an electric type shock or a buzz. That's the best way that I can describe it, and luckily it only happened to me a couple times. There's not a ton of information on this. I know a lot of people that are trying to get off medications and antidepressants. They deal with brain zaps more often. The next one, guys, is twitching. This was scary for me because I associated it with things like ALS or MS, Parkinson's, things like that, neurological diseases. Twitching is very common with anxiety. I know some of you are super worried about it. Some of you are dealing with it 24/7. I would get twitches in my face, my arms, my legs. I would have these big twitches that would kind of come out of nowhere. I don't know what that was, but that would be something that I would deal with as well. Twitching is very common. Our muscles are very, very tired, okay, and fatigued, and twitching can start to happen whenever your muscles get to that point. If you think about it, if you're in fight or flight all day, that basically means you are fighting or running away all day. What do you think that does to your muscles? It tires them up. Twitching can follow. The next one, guys, is shakiness and tremors. Also, it's coming down to your muscles being extremely tired, okay, and fatigued. So you get this shakiness and tremors. And again, I would kind of associate this with those neurological diseases, okay? The Parkinson's, the ALS, the MS, but there was something else. I just had this weird feeling that I was about to have a seizure at all times. And of course, whenever I was in fight or flight, the adrenaline was going, the shakiness got worse, right? So that was something that I would deal with and I would be terrified of. The next one is kind of an obvious one, shortness of breath. I would deal with this in every panic attack that I had. My breathing cavity was restricted, my diaphragm was constricted, and it would just be this shallow, rapid breathing. The funny thing is most of the time we're actually taking in more oxygen than you would on under normal circumstances. But it feels like we just can't get that really good deep breath, so it feels like we're short of breath. But shortness of breath is very, very common. Some of you are actually dealing with this for most of your day, not just during having panic attacks, which is also something that a lot of people report. This can really just come down to muscle tension. It can almost feel like somebody's just coming up behind you and giving you a pretty big squeeze, like a really big hug, and just doesn't really let go. The next one, guys, is brain fog. This was scary for me. It made me feel like I had tumors in my head, or had brain cancer, or that I was just losing my mind, or me going crazy. The longer that I had anxiety, the brain fog would kind of creep in. So kind of visualize it like fog. It's slow to come in after a while, and then it's slow to leave. It was one of the last things to leave. So I couldn't concentrate. I didn't have much focus. And then my memory was going out the window. Short-term and long-term memory was really hard for me during this period of time. It was really freaking me out. This is one of the biggest things that led me to my social anxiety and pushing people away and being embarrassed. I couldn't hold conversations. I couldn't remember, people's names, putting names with faces. Couldn't remember something that I did yesterday. I couldn't remember what I ate this morning. Directions became a problem out of nowhere, and I've never had issues with that. Just being able to focus and get things done. I had no concentration. My mind was always going 100 miles an hour. This is very common with brain fog. And sometimes it's just like literally looking through this foggy, cloudy pair of glasses. Even colors don't look the same that they used to look. Things don't seem the way they used to be. And food doesn't even taste the same. So basically, it's what it sounds like. Your brain is really cloudy, really foggy, really confused, and that can be a very, very scary symptom, especially if you're worried about your sanity. But I'll say this, if you can question your sanity on a daily basis and worry about being insane due to your anxiety, then you're not insane, okay? The next one, guys, is Ibs Symptoms. I dealt with this pretty much through the whole 5 years that I dealt with all of this. Sorry, the sun's going down, guys, so the lighting's getting a little bad. But the Ibs symptoms were constant throughout. I dealt with diarrhea, constipation, stomach cramps, stomach pains. Digestion is no longer a priority whenever you are in fight or flight, okay? Especially if you are in it for long periods of time like I was. Blood supply gets shut off down there and causes a whole slew of problems. So I was having to make tons of trips to the toilet. Something else I'll throw in there is frequent urination. That was annoying, but these symptoms scared me. I had multiple times of periods of a few months where I thought I had various digestive type cancers, stomach cancer. I remember a big one was colon cancer. Had a pain in my right side of my stomach for 2 months straight. The funny thing about this one, guys, I made a doctor's appointment because I finally wanted to get some answers on it, to get a sonogram or an ultrasound. Jesus. And whenever I finally got that scheduled, magically the pain went away. So yeah, that was something that I dealt with and worried about all the time. I know many of you are going through that. I had a horrible digestive system before my anxiety started, so what do you think is gonna happen after anxiety? It's just gonna aggravate things. So all those symptoms I dealt with. And last but not least is dizziness. And I know some of you, bless your heart, you're dealing with dizziness 24/7. Well, anxiety affects the part of the brain that deals with our motor skills, with vertigo, with our balance, and with dizziness. So when anxiety is ramped up, you're gonna experience these spells of dizziness. I didn't have this all the time, but when I did have it, it really made me feel like I was about to pass out, faint, or die. So that was very scary for me. And then having the dizziness causes further anxiety, and you'll find yourself in a lot of these mini cycles, okay? So those are my top 10 scariest anxiety symptoms. I feel like I barely got through that one. Having some issues talking today, apparently. Thank you for bearing with me if you watched through this whole thing. I love you guys, and I want you guys to keep fighting. I want to keep bringing these videos to you. Remember, just don't give up, okay? My tips are always provided in the description of every video. There's no excuse to not try them. And don't just try them for a day or two. Consistently go at this every single day. It is not just going to leave, okay? It is not going to just leave. You have to work at it. You have to rewire your brain, okay? Reprogram. So make sure that you're working at that each and every day. Again, I love you guys. If you are interested in one-on-one coaching with me, my email is down below in the description and in the first pinned comment, as well as online therapy. If that's something you want to try out, it's in the description as well. It's cheaper than in-person therapy. You can do it on the phone, the laptop, the PC. It's much more convenient than having to go out and find something. I know some of you guys are limited with your options, so I always have that link in every single video, so that's there. Subscribe if you haven't, guys. Hit the notification bell so you get updates whenever I put my videos out. If you're watching from Facebook, just head over to YouTube, subscribe to Trey Jones, and you'll see a lot of videos, over 800 of them. So go through those and start your recovery process. So guys, I will talk to you later. Like this video if you got value. Remember, if you want to get a shout out in the next video, question of the day: what are your scariest anxiety symptoms? Share below in the comment section. I will talk to y'all later. Bye.